أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So yesterday we started this topic المتعدى بالحرف, and inshallah today we will start with a brief revision of what we learned yesterday, and then we will continue with this topic. So المتعدى بالحرف, I think by now you would know what it means. Making متعدى making a lazim fail mutaaddi by use of a harf. That's what al-mutaaddi bil harf means. So yesterday we learned what al-fail al-mutaaddi means and what is al-fail al-lazim. So briefly I will go over them again to refresh our memories. So al-fail al-mutaaddi, or which is called transitive verb in English, it is a fail that can take a maf'ul bihi, and it can also be changed into passive. For example, he ate. So he ate can generate a question. This is a sentence which can generate a question, who or what. And the answer could be, for example, he ate a banana. And the word a banana is maf'ul bihi. Similarly, he helped. He helped his sister. So his sister will be maf'ul bihi. So it answers the question, he helped who? And that answer, as we know from before, is called maf'ul bihi. And we can also change it to passive voice. For example, the passive voice of he helped will be he was helped. He was helped. So again, al-fail al-mutaaddi is a fail which can take maf'ul bihi, and it can also be changed into passive. While on the contrary, the al-fail al-lazim is a fail which cannot take a maf'ul bihi, and therefore it cannot be changed into passive voice, and it does not have an ismul maf'ul. Like in the sarf, when we do a sarf for a word, we have an ismul maf'ul, ismul fa'il, and ismul maf'ul. But ismul maf'ul does not exist for a lazim fail. For example, he slept. This is a sentence which does not generate the question who or what. Or you cannot add something to it like he slept someone or he slept something. No, you cannot do that. So it doesn't take a maf'ul bihi, and therefore it will be called intransitive verb, al-failul lazim. And because it doesn't take maf'ul bihi, it cannot be changed into passive voice either. So if you want to, even he was slept, if I want to try, to make a passive out of it, he was slept, that doesn't make sense. He slept himself. He was slept doesn't make sense. He fasted. If I want to make it passive, he was fasted. Again, it doesn't make sense. So al-failul lazim are the fail which do not take maf'ul bihi, and that they cannot changed into passive, and in the sarf they don't have ismul maf'ul. For example, he slept, nama yanamu, and its ismul fa'il will be naim, but there will be no ismul maf'ul. And how we make ismul maf'ul, we already know this, but we can go over them briefly. Ismul maf'ul, making passive voice rather. Fataha, for example. Fataha means he opened. Futiha means he was opened. So futiha is a passive voice of fataha, and fataha is a mutaddi fail, and that is why we are able to make it passive voice, because we can add who or what in front of it. Like for example, he opened a door. He opened a, a car door, or he opened a lock, for example. Futiha, he was opened. Similarly, akala, he ate. Ukila, he was eaten. So it means it is a failul mutaaddi. But when we come to jalasa, he sat down. We cannot make a passive voice out of it. He was sat, So julisa by itself does not exist. It cannot be used in Arabic language. We can write it down because, we can move the harakas to make it julisa, but it will not be used. It doesn't make sense. So it's a fail lazim. Similarly, qala, he said. Kila, it was said. So it is al-failul mutaaddi. Khafa, he feared. Khifa, he was feared. Again, al-failul mutaaddi. But when it comes to kama, he stood. Kima, I can write it, but what does it mean? He was stood. No, it doesn't make sense. Similarly, nama. I went over this. And then how we make a sentence using passive voice. So first, a sentence with an active voice. Fatah al-baba. Just for an example, he opened. Fataha, he opened. Al-baba, the door. He opened the door. Now its passive voice will be the door was opened. So it will be Futiha. Futiha al-babu. Futiha, he was opened. And al-babu, the door. And al-babu is the outside naibul file of Futiha, which will take the place of inside naibul file. And the translation will be the door was opened. Okay. So up till now, we have learned, or I have revised, is that a failul lazim cannot be changed into passive voice. But actually there is a way. There is a special method by using that we can change al-failul lazim into passive. And how we do that? It is by using a preposition, a harf. We add a harf to the fail lazim, and then we can change into passive. Because when we add a harf, then it becomes a mutaddi fail, and then we can change that into passive. For example, he sat. It is al-failul lazim. We cannot change it into passive. But we can do something to make it passive. Let's work on it. First of all, I add a harf to it. On, or ala in Arabic language. He sat on. After I have added on, then I can add other words to it. Without on, I cannot do that. He sat on the chair. Example. And the Arabic will be jalasa ala al-kursi. He sat on the chair. He sat on the chair. Now, actually, we can make a passive voice out of it. The passive voice in English will be the chair was sat on. The chair was sat on. And how it was possible? It was only possible because of the addition of this harf, on, this preposition, on. Without it, you cannot make it passive voice. So what will be the Arabic for it? Julisa ala al-kursi. So julisa is the passive voice. Ala al-kursi is now its naibul file. The kursi was sat on. The chair was sat on. And ala al-kursi, not just kursi, ala al-kursi will act as naibul file. It is a jar majroor, but we will call it naibul file. It is acting like it is a naibul file. We're still revising, nothing new yet. Another example, he came. Now this is a lazim. This is a lazim fail. Al-failul lazim. It cannot be changed into passive voice. But we will do something similar to what we did to he said. We will add a harf and we will see if we can change it into passive voice. So what's the Arabic of he came? Ata. Ata means he came. Then I added this word with. He came with. Now I can add the word the food. So with enabled me, adding with enabled me to add the word the food. And now its translation is the Arabic will be ata bit'ami. He came with the food. He came with the food ata bit'ami. And it's another way of translating it will be he brought the food. He came with the food means he brought the food. And what's the passive will be? The food was brought. And it will be utiya bit'ami. The food was brought. And the naibul file will be bit'ami. Bit'ami, similar to alal kursi, will be the outside naibul file. And it acts like it. Otherwise, it is actually a jar majroor. This is what we did yesterday. So we have done two examples so far. Jalasa, he sat. Ata, he came. Now we are going to use a third word, ghadiba. Ghadiba means he was angry. Does it generate the question who or what? It's a question for the class. It doesn't.
No.
No, it doesn't. So what does it mean? It's al-failul lazim or al-failul muta'addi?
Failul lazim.
It's a failul lazim. But the task is that we want to make a passive voice out of it. Okay. So we will do the same thing what we did to jalasa and what we did to ata. First, I added a harf at ala. In Arabic will be ala. And then I was able to add him. He was angry at him. Because when you say he was angry at, then you can generate the question who or what. Because it has become mutaddi now by adding the word at. And then you can say at, you can say him. He was angry at him. So what will be the Arabic? Ghadiba alayhi. He was angry at him. So what will be the translation of he was angry at them? Ghadiba
alayhim.
Alayhim. He was angry at you. Ghadiba
Alayka.
alayka. All right. So ghadiba alayhi means he was angry at him. I want to change it into passive. What will be the passive voice of he was angry at him? He was angered upon?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. He was angered upon. You can say he received anger in a better English. He was angered upon is the passive voice. So we are going to use the same method that we used before. So it will be the Arabic will be ghadiba alayhi. He was angered upon. And alayhi will be what? Will be the acting file. Acting file or naibul file. So ghadiba alayhi means he was angered upon. Is everyone with me so far?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Ghadiba alayhi means he was angered upon, and alayhi is acting as naibul file. All right. Now the question is how to say they were angered upon.
غضب
غضب عليهم.
غضب عليهم
غضب عليهم. They were angered upon. غضب عليهم. Good, good. How to say you were angered upon?
غضب عليك
All right. غضب عليك. You were angered upon. How to say you all were angered upon?
غضب عليكم.
عليكم. Good. So what is the naibul file here?
عليكم
Alaykum. Alaykum is the naibul file. How to say I was angered upon?
غضب علي.
Very good. غضب علي. I was angered upon. So what is the naibul file? Alayya. We were angered upon. غضب
غضب عليك
alayna. We were angered upon. Okay. So are we good so far?
Yes.
How to say she was angered upon?
غضب عليه.
She.
Oh, she. غضب عليها.
Alayha. They were angered upon. It's all women.
غضب عليهن.
Alayhinna. Very good. Very good. So now we are good at it, right? So now we know how to make passive voice out of al-fi'lul lazim. So what we do, we add a harf, and that allows us to change it into passive voice. But in the introduction, I also said that al-fi'lul lazim does not have an ismul maf'ul. When we do a surf of it, the TPI, there is no ismul maf'ul. For example, nama doesn't have an ismul maf'ul, sama doesn't have an ismul maf'ul, qama doesn't have ismul maf'ul. So if we can make passive voice out of al-fi'lul lazim, we should be also be able to make ismul maf'ul. Make sense? If we can do one thing, we should be able to do the other thing also. And yeah, there is a way to make ismul maf'ul also. So we already know how to make passive voice from an al-fi'lul lazim. And now we will learn how to make ismul maf'ul out of it. How to make ismul maf'ul from an al-fi'lul lazim. So I'm gonna use the same word, ghadiba. Ghadiba means he was angry. So what will be the ismul maf'ul of the word ghadiba? That is the question. Right away, the word that comes to mind is the one who was angered upon is maghdub, right? Actually, I meant to write the one who was angered upon. Maghdub. But is maghdub right? Because we knew that to make a mutaddi out of a fi'l lazim, we had to add a harf. So similarly, to make an ismul maf'ul, we will add a harf to it. Because maghdubun by itself cannot be a ismul maf'ul. By itself, it is not an ismul maf'ul. So the one who is angered upon will be maghdubun alayhi. Maghdubun ilayhi, the whole thing. It means the one who was angered upon. Maghdubun alone doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It will be maghdubun alayhi, the one who is angered upon. How to say those who are angered upon? Like we say maghdub, but for example, we say fatih, fatihuna, fatihina, maftuhun, maftuhuna, maftuhina. Right? So we say a singular and then we say a plural in TPI. So maghdubun alayhi means the one who is angered upon. How to say those who are angered upon?
مغضوبون عليهم.
No.
مغضوب عليهم.
Maghdubun alayhim. See, over here, did Ghudiba change? Ghudiba never changed. Ghudiba alayhi, Ghudiba alayhim, Ghudiba alayka, Ghudiba alaykum, Ghudiba alayya, Ghudiba alayna. Did Ghudiba change? No. Ghudiba never changed. You can also add the feminine to it. Ghudiba alayha, Ghudiba alayhinna, Ghudiba alayki, Ghudiba alaykunna. Ghudiba will not change. Okay? So similarly, when I say maghdubun alayhi means the one who was angered upon, now maghdubun is never going to change. And it will be, those who are angered upon will be maghdubun alayhim. The word maghdubuna or maghdubina, they don't exist in Arabic language. They don't. So maghdubun alayhim is what its meaning is, those who are angered upon. So what will be the feminine of a lady who is angered upon?
Maghdubun alayha.
Maghdubun alayha. A lot of ladies who are angered upon.
مغضوب عليهن.
Maghdubun alayhinna. Exactly. Exactly. And let's go to an example to understand it even more. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Path of those who you favored upon, not of those who were angered upon. Those who were angered upon. If maghdubuna or maghdubina existed, it would be ghayril maghdubina waladdallina. So if maghdubina existed in Arabic language, it would be ghayril maghdubina in majroor status. So al-maghdubi alayhim is used as those who are angered upon. This is example from Qur'an. Path of those who you favored upon, not of those who were angered upon, and not of those who went astray. So this is exactly what I wrote here. Maghdubun alayhim. When you add an al to it, it will be al-maghdubu alayhim. If you make it majroor, it will be al-maghdubi alayhim. If you want to make it mansoob, it will be al-maghduba alayhim. So first we learned how to make passive voice from al-failul lazim, which normally doesn't exist, which normally cannot be done. And then we learned how to actually make an ismul maf'ul from an al-failul lazim, which normally does not exist. Okay? Any question so far?
Brother Shivas, can we say that failul lazim cannot come alone? It always comes with the harf in the sentence.
No, when it is used as a passive voice, then it will come with a harf.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
When it
So
comes as a passive voice, then it will
Yeah.
come with a harf. Otherwise, it can be used without a harf.
Yeah,
When it
otherwise,
is-
I'm talking about the passive voice. Passive voice of failul lazim cannot come alone.
No, because otherwise you cannot change it to mutaddi. You change it to mutaddi
Yeah.
by adding a harf, and once
Yeah.
it is mutaddi, then you can change it to passive voice. Then it's not a problem, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So the answer is yes.
Okay.
So another example from Quran is Waji'a yawmaidhin bi jahannam. And is actually the active voice will be ja'a, meaning he came. Ja'a means he came. Yawma is in on that day. Bi, normally we translate it as with. Jahannam, Jahannam, the hell, the hellfire. Now, Ja'a is Ja'a. I mean, Ja'a means he came. So Ja'a is al-fi'lul lazim or al-fi'lul muta'addi? What do you think?
Failul Azim.
لازم
Fi'lul lazim. So we cannot make Ji'a just by itself. We have to add a harf. Where is the harf?
B. Bi Jahannam. B.
B. It doesn't have to be next to it always. B is the harf. Ja'a bi, he brought. Ji'a bi, he was brought. But you see Jahannama is added to it. So how you will translate? Waji'a bi Jahannama. The Jahannam was
Brought.
The Jahannam was brought because bi Jahannama together is acting as naibul fa'il. Similar to what we did before. The other examples. So you cannot say and he, I mean, you cannot even try. He was come with Jahannam on that day. No, that's wrong. It doesn't make even any sense. And Jahannam will be brought. The hellfire will be brought on that day. So B Jahannama is the outside naibul file for Jia. Jia is a passive voice. And it became passive voice with the use of the harf B.
So I have a question here.
Mhm.
Why is Jahannama the status is Nasab?
Oh, no, it is not nasab. It
It
is
is
not
partially flexible.
partly flexible.
Okay.
The name of a place.
Okay. Yes, correct.
For example, we just did yesterday. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ فَاخْتُلِفَ فِيهِ. And for sure, we already had given or we gave Musa the book, then it was disagreed in. The book was disagreed in. It was disagreed in. Oh, now we separate ukhtulifa fihi from the rest of the ayah, just for practice. I want to say they were disagreed in.
اختلف فيهم
Fihim, and we were disagreed in.
اختلف فينا
Fina. If it makes sense, just for practice, I'm saying this, right? So this is how. Another example will be here before I conclude here. Wahita bi samarihi. Ahata is a passive voice of ohita. Sorry, ohita is a passive voice of ahata, and ohita means he was surrounded. Bi with samarihi. You cannot translate it as this. And he was surrounded with his fruit. No, it will be his fruit was surrounded. His fruit, actually it means his fruit was destroyed. His fruit was destroyed. Ahita normally comes with the B. Ahata or ohita normally comes with the B. Okay. Any question on today's lesson? We finished it now. Okay.
Brother Shabazz, can you repeat this? Ohita bi samarehi? I didn't get it.
Bisamari he means this bisamari he will act like an outside naibul file. So his fruit was surrounded. In Arabic means like uhita is used in a sense that his fruit was destroyed. This is from Surah Kahf.
Okay.
If you know in Surah Kahf, there is a story of of a garden, two gardens, one person has a garden and his friend doesn't have anything, and then they talk about, there's a story about it. So,
Right. No,
yeah.
I was just bit confused. Okay, ohita mean to surrounding, and then you said as destroyed. So that's where I got a bit.
Yeah, when it is used as passive, then it can mean it was destroyed. This is
All
how
right.
the Arabs use it, right? Literally
Yeah,
means he was surrounded, but Arabs used it in a sense that it was destroyed. His fruit was destroyed.
destroyed.
Yeah.
Jazakallah khair.
Right. Yeah. Anything else?
So
All right.
Brother, if it's possible, I was little late. If you briefly can, if possible, one time. Yeah.
Sorry, what's that, brother? What did you say?
I said I was late in class. If it's possible, you can briefly again the whole.
Brother, inshallah,
Uh,
we are uploading the video. You can watch it there. So we would be running out of time if we do it again, I think.
I don't have a problem with that, but the only thing is,
It's already
it
10:52.
will take a long, because I took like half an hour to do this. And if I make it really short, I don't know it will really help. So watch the video, and if still there are questions, you can ask me in the next class, and then I can go over this, inshallah. All right. Sorry about that, brother Asar. We have to start the second part, inshallah. It's already 10:32.